Hello, everyone. I'm Barbara.
Hi there, I'm Dirk.
Hello. Dirk thinks we are mother and father of BIMUN, and he's probably right. Can you explain who you are and what you did in 2002?
Well, Barbara thinks we're grandmother and grandfather of BIMUN, and she's probably also right. Well, actually, it was almost 20 years ago when I went to Geneva, to the Geneva International Model United Nations. It was a great experience in the United Nations city of Geneva. And I came back to Bonn and was fascinated. I was actually asked to be the representative of Finland, and we talked about the European Council and foreign affairs, affairs in the European Council. And when I came back to Bonn, I thought, wow, a very simple idea. United Nations city of Bonn has no United Nation or model United Nation, and why not having it? It's a United Nations city that has students and everything what is needed to launch a model United Nation. So fascinated by the idea of young people talking over the role of diplomats and getting to know all the constraints, while also showing that creative thinking could lead to astonishing and progressive results. And that's actually the birth hour of BIMUN. Now, having an idea is one thing, and getting it done is another. Barbara, do you recall our first contact? I actually gave you a call.
Yeah, that's right. It was Easter 2002. I was back at home with my parents because I had an accident doing sports, and I couldn't walk at the time. So I had somebody to help me, and suddenly the phone rang, and then there was this Dirk on the phone whom I'd never met before, and he started to talk to me about something that he called BIMUN. And I listened to him for quite a while, and he explained all sorts of interesting things. But the truth was, I really had no idea what on earth this BIMUN thing was supposed to be. I didn't know him at the time, as I said, so I tried to be polite. And at the end, I said, I have to be frank and honest. I don't know what this means, BIMUN. And he said, well, that's what I want to found with you. It doesn't exist yet. It's just an idea. I thought I need somebody to do this with me. And suddenly I thought, right, I'm right in the middle of my final exam, orals and written exams of my state degree. I'm a student of Protestant theology and English. It was April, as I recall, and in June my state degree was supposed to be finished. So I thought, I can't walk, and I've got a lot to learn and revise for the final exams. But something is there, like a gut feeling that tells me that maybe I ought to meet this guy. So we arranged a meeting in Bonn, and he started all over again to explain everything in more detail. And I paid attention, and for whatever reason, I had a feeling that, yes, this needs to be done. No matter whether I've got the time or not right now, or seem to be thinking that I haven't got the time, it doesn't matter. It was somehow bigger than what I was aiming at the time. So I thought it was worth spending time on BIMUN. So yes, it was interesting because we had no idea how to do it. So we needed to find out about the legal framework. We needed to set up a registered charity, and you need 7 people to do this by German law. So the 2 of us had to find 5 more students to set it up. And it took a bit of courage to approach other more or less unknown students to ask them, would you like to join in? But we managed to do it. So we had 7 people after some weeks, and we managed to get the legal framework right. And suddenly the charity was set up, and we could start our work. And I remember that the student parliament at Bonn supported us. right from the beginning with a little bit of money so that we could at least get our first administration going. So from then on, we had a chance to make proper plans. That what do you think we did? That's what I can remember.
Yeah, I think it sounds quite complete. I mean, I can't remember all the challenges we had. Yeah.
I remember that one of the students had a letter sent to her by the United Nations, and I saw her in the library, and the letter was lying there on the table. So I then thought, okay, I'd be able to talk to her and ask her. And I mean, this is how we did it. We just spoke to people and tried to get them involved, and it worked. And the enthusiasm grew stronger until, yeah, by autumn, we got the chance to present a proper project plan, quite detailed project plan at one of the German major automobile companies, and went down to Stuttgart and presented it there. Maybe we can come back to that in a moment. Yes, and that's how it started to work. It was funny. Remember when we said actually we need 100,000 euros? How about giving us 100,000 euros? Remember? Can you tell people what the reply was? What they were looking at us for? With a big question mark in their face. Remember?
Absolutely. I think they were in doubt whether we are professionals or students.
Yeah. I remember that one of the ladies was with her head down and she was writing something, and suddenly she looked up, and then the question was, are you professionals? No. You're doing this professionally? No. You students? Really? And then put the head back down again and made more notes, and suddenly the impression on the face had changed. So this was the moment, I think, when we got the 100,000 euros, even though at the very moment we didn't know. But yes, this was really the green lights that we got. I also remember that we went for a walk. I went for a walk with a friend of mine who was 10 years older than me. And I explained to her what Dirk and I had planned. And at the end, she said to me, and when exactly are you planning to do this? And I said, in December. So she went, which year are we talking about? And I said, this year. And she said, what? Sportlich in German, sportive. And what she really meant was, oh God, how naive can somebody be? This is totally impossible. And I was naive enough as a young student or young person to ignore that kind of comment. Somehow I simply just also didn't understand what she was saying to me. Had I been older, maybe I would have understood, but I simply went on with the planning, and Dirk and I don't know, didn't doubt the whole concept as such. Of course, we had difficulties now and then, but the general plan was clear. So remember the one committee that was very unusual in contrast maybe to other years. Remember what we did? That something that didn't even exist in reality.
Not yet. It was about to be set up, the ICC.
Right. The International Criminal Court was to be found, what's the word? Officially started, shall we say, in January 2003, according to the, what's it called? The Rome Convention. I can't remember the proper term. So the professors of law who were behind the real International Criminal Court were interested to find out about our simulated international criminal court. So what we did was to prosecute somebody, a real person who was already dead, so that we wouldn't get in trouble for the prosecution of a current figure. And that was a good idea. And I tell you what, it was really, really impressive. The legal detail, the thought, I don't know how to phrase it properly, the way the students who were involved from all over the world engaged into their ICC goal, yeah, I think impressed me very much, even until today.
Yeah, it was quite impressive. In a way, I got the feeling that the students are really into it and that they believe justice has been served somehow.
And as I said, as a theologian, my main motive was really to bring people together. Völkerverständigung, international affairs, to me was really mainly getting people together to talk from all kinds of different perspectives, different countries, different religions, male, female, diverse, whatever, everybody together at one table. And that's why I think my effort was worthwhile. I remember I talked about it with Dirk for this interview. What impressed me most, really, what my personal highlight in the entire BIMUN year that we experienced together was a young woman from Sierra Leone, and she had a special motivation to take part because her entire family was killed by an attack on her village. And the atrocities that she had witnessed were unspeakable, difficult for me to somehow even grasp. But she talked about it clearly, and then she explained to us that she was glad she had a chance to survive and to flee from the place and somehow get to the United States and get a chance to study and then become a diplomat rather than take revenge on those people who had killed her family. And I think this one example for me was really enough to say the whole effort is worthwhile. And actually, she left such a good impression during the conference that she was awarded the Best Speaker Award in the end. That was something that I thought was really marvelous.
So yeah. What makes the BIMUN conference special compared to other conferences? Now, actually, at that time, and I'm out of the MUN business, and maybe BIMUN SINUB now is much more special than other conference. But at that time, we recall that the United Nations have 6 official languages, and the European Union has actually 24 official languages. Most MUNs are in English or in French or in the national language where the MUN is located. Now, we at least wanted to offer English and French. And this is why we gave the association an English and a French acronym, and that's BIMUN or SINUB. And nowadays, actually, BIMUN conference is trilingual. You offer English, French, and Spanish, and that's great. The other thing which makes BIMUN probably particular or different to others is that we did not only want to offer a platform for students to try out how diplomacy works, but also to get future journalists and interpreters to come together and to practice. And the simple idea is not only to save money, but also to actually invite future journalists to do a daily newspaper during the conference, and to invite interpreter school to try out and to interpret and see how it works in practice. So it was actually good for the budget, it was good for the interpreters and good for the journalists, and also we could actually summarize the daily activities, what happens actually. It was a newspaper which we published in the morning, so everyone could actually get ready to what are the news developments, including breaking news, crisis management, etc. Also, BIMUN is in Europe, and in Europe, we not only simulate United Nations bodies, but why not simulating also a European Union institution, and that was the European Council or Foreign Affairs Council. The educational concept for simulating United Nations or EU bodies is pretty much the same. The thing is that it allowed students from outside of Europe to learn how to function and how Europe and the institution functions, and that's quite a positive thing. We already have challenges that Europeans don't know how the EU functions, but here we actually went a little bit across the borders of Europe, widen the horizon.
Yes, and the year after our conference, I think I remember that the professor at Cologne, with whom we had this cooperation, came back to us to ask whether there would be another chance for future interpreters to take part in a conference like the one that we had. So obviously both parts got something out of it, profited from it. So it wasn't just our side, it was also the other side. So you could say it's a win-win situation that we created. Yeah, exactly.
Again, it's cooperation not only across borders, but also within the location you're on to find who needs what. Also, I think the structure of BIMUN SINUB was designed at the start, at the very beginning, to last long. We didn't know how long it will last, actually now almost 20 years. That's good. That's good to know, because the design of that structure was meant to last for just longer than only one conference or 1 year. And I think over the last years, we've seen webinars or seminars or workshops and other activities, cooperations with other MUNs. So we're not alone there in the world of MUNs. All that is very good. We have an advisory board established. Actually, Barbara, you and I were in the advisory board to make sure that the knowledge, the expertise we gained, all that what we learned is not lost with the change of the board and the directors and the leadership. So again, I think it was quite a life experience, lessons learned, I'd say. I think the whole conference, everything was full of highlights. I don't remember any particular one single highlight. I think it was just so much coming on my brain, you know, just so many positive experiences, challenges which we overcome. And I think that's, you know, the general organization of such a conference, such an event as a student is what my special highlight maybe is. It's the organization itself, the experience, the lesson learned, the gets together, the networking, to see that students not only have to learn and listen to professors what they say because they are the gods of that structure, but really that we can be active. We have our own ideas as students. We can actually make it come true. If you believe in yourself and that you can share the enthusiasm with others, you can achieve a lot even as a student. And I think that's my highlight, I'd say.
So it was good to implement a phrase into the legal framework that we set up for the charity, to make sure that those people who organize the entire conference framework would not be allowed to grow old, so that it would always be handed over to the younger students, and they would be then handing it over to their predecessors. No, what's the word? The people coming after them. So to ensure that, to successors, to make sure that they stay young. And even though, coming back to what we said, me being the BIMUN grandmother and you being the BIMUN grandfather, it may feel strange now. I'm absolutely positive that this was one of the key elements for success. Young people need to make their own experiences and need to be active and find their own approach towards something. And yeah, and this is something that worked well in almost 20 years now.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that's something also students can learn, and maybe also society or business can learn from students or this sort of organization. Continuation, to ensure continuation, but at the same time to have a change of generation and leadership. That's something which doesn't work well in industry, for example, or in society. Most actually companies or organizations have quite a loss of knowledge and of expertise when one leadership group is leaving. And I have to say it worked quite well in BIMUN. With the advisory board, we stepped aside, we gave way for the new generation, and it's actually almost every single year that there is a big change in the leadership and the organization, but not in the structure, and also not in the expertise gained over all the years. And I'm quite proud to see that BIMUN exists now for almost 20 years. So it actually means that the structure we designed, Barbara, worked quite well.
Well, maybe the unifying element over all those years was that all the young people involved felt gratitude for what they had been experiencing. So that would be the driving force to ensure that the knowledge that we gained wouldn't get lost. Because we knew how important it was to find help, because we, as the first people to set it up, didn't have anybody to tell us how to do it. So we relied on other people from outside BIMUN to give us advice when we asked professors or other people from university or the city of Bonn to give us some tips. We knew that they were important and helpful, so therefore we were ready to pass on what we had gained, and I think that everybody following over the years had a similar feeling.
Actually, yeah, and we were the first one to actually start this organization. We didn't know how the previous conference looked like because it was just simply the first one. Yeah. But I remember that the spirit was really, we have an idea, we have enthusiasm, we have energy, we have everything but time and money. But still, the idea was then not to give up. We have to remain realistic if you don't know how it works or will work or maybe not work. But, we have to keep motivating others, think out of the box, not only ask for what you need, but also what others need and how to connect these dots. Now, I think that maybe was part of the success. Yeah, what challenges did you face during the organization of the conference? I know my challenges, but what about you, Barbara?
Well, I already mentioned Stuttgart, a city quite a few hours away from Bonn. And the thing was that we had this appointment at this big automobile company early in the morning. Dirk was on the phone talking to them, and then came running to us explaining, hooray, we got an appointment. Unfortunately, it was early in the morning. So the question was, how do we get to this place to be ready for the appointment in the morning if we don't really have a lot of money for train tickets, not to speak of, I don't know, going to the hotel the night before or something. So what we did in the end was 3 of us, together with Marie-Christine Heinze, to sit in my car hi Marie-Christine, to sit in the car and drive down to Stuttgart. Actually, it really meant that I was driving and the other two were just sleeping. And it was raining cats and dogs. It was dark, and the motorway went up and down the hills. So yeah, I was glad to be chauffeuring these two to Stuttgart. And I remember we went to a filling station to ask for the key for the toilets and get changed in the toilets, and suddenly turned up in our suits to look a bit more businesslike. And then we went to speak to these people at the appointment. Yeah, that was funny looking back, but it was so exciting and tough at the time. So yeah, that was one of the challenges that we had to face. And considering that we managed to get our main sponsor, it was worth the effort. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, can we say it was Mercedes, Daimler?
I don't know.
Yeah. It was. It was the headquarter of Mercedes or Daimler Chrysler at that time. Yeah.
At the time, it was called Daimler Chrysler. Yes, headquarters. Yeah, that's right. Right. Yeah, but that was just one of the stories. I think there were plenty of challenges, but that's something that I remember lively.
Yeah, I think, that maybe you're right. We are grandmother and grandfather because they keep telling stories to the, grandkids.
To their children, yes. Once upon a time in 2002. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what are you doing now?
Actually, I'm a lobbyist for the last 15 years. I'm living in Brussels and I'm running a European association, working on EU raw materials. Sounds bad, but it's not. But BIMUN helped me a lot, actually, to see how international cooperation works, how the EU functions in a way as well, but also to give not up, to set up new structures, to come up with new ideas, be creative, and also do all that in several foreign languages because it's Brussels. And I think for me, it was tremendously helpful. All the lessons learned in BIMUN SINUB, I could somehow adapt and use and apply in what I'm doing now. And you, Barbara?
Well, I was lucky enough to be able to finish my state degree in the middle of setting up BIMUN. So yes, I profited directly from the networking that we did. Because through this Daimler Chrysler connection, I got a very, very nice chance to find a job at the Academy of Arts in Berlin. And I became the executive director of the Friends of the Academy of Arts, which was also a registered charity. And it was my task to communicate between the artists, politicians, public figures, and CEOs from big companies to do fundraising for the arts. So I also made good use of the administrative work that I had learned at BIMUN to build up things. And later on, I returned to Bonn and became the first executive director of the Center for Religion and Society at the University of Bonn. And I did that for a long time, really. I mean, many years working with about 30 professors, connecting their different subjects. And now I'm a housewife. I call myself Dr. Housewife, Dr. Household, whatever. And I'm taking care of my children. And I'm happy doing this. And in my spare time, I'm qualifying to become an honorary helper at a hospice to care for the dying. Don't know exactly how to phrase it in English, but yes, I spent my spare time at a hospice. Yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah, actually, I was a houseman, you can call it. I'm not sure actually for the term for that one. But during the COVID crisis, I spent home and taking care of my kids and teaching them. So the role of a houseman, housewife can't be overestimated. And it's a great investment into the future of your own kids. So, chapeau.
Dr.
Seriously.
Household, grandmother
Yeah.
BIMUN and Dr. Household. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I am.